He's a practicing chartered accountant with more than 20 years of rich experience in the field of risk control assessment, business process reengineering, ERP implementation, and internal audit in SAP environment. He has been professionally associated with clients from various industry segments like automobile, energy, engineering, renewable energy, chemicals, real estate, healthcare, media, etc. And for past 10 years, he's associated with Concord Academics for developing and delivering the CIA review courses. He's based in Mumbai, and we are happy to have you, Deepak, for taking today's session.
Okay.
I request all the participants to close it while close your videos while Deepak is talking so that everybody's focus will not be lost. Over to you, Deepak.
Thank you, Sana. Thank you for the kind introduction. Okay. Uh, Before we start, I'd just like to say that a similar session was conducted in the month of February. So I will be repeating most of the whatever was done last time. So in case you have attended, you will find it as a repetition. So please bear with me for that. Okay. And today's session, let me share my screen. Okay. Is my screen visible? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. So, the topic of the day is training CIA candidates by a mentoring approach. So, I mean, most of us, would be conducting sessions for CIA candidates. This is the first time, you know, uh, not the first, second time I'm doing this for the trainers. So for the last 10 years, I've been doing this on and off, like in between during the session. I mean, thrice a year or twice a year for some candidates associated with Gleim, who are the content and the learning provider. My experience, has been with many diverse candidates. Some were freshers, and some were really who's who of the audit industry. Okay, so at times it was really overwhelming. As a new trainer, I found a lot of challenges. I'll just share you all the small things. The exam content and all that is okay. We know that, but I would like to share with you, how those soft part of the training. So what we thought in Gleim was a mentoring approach is something that differentiates. Uh, Definitely, it has helped us. Uh, but mentoring approach, what we mean is distinguishing it from purely a lecturing or like a coaching or a training approach. Uh, Mentoring, we mean transfer of knowledge plus a deeper engagement. Transfer of knowledge that is given, any trainer would do that. That is a basic job. Everybody would do that. Every faculty would transfer knowledge to the learner. But nowadays, you need to engage a little deeper with the candidates, and that's what differentiates. So, most of the candidates have to do self-learning, but what we mean by engagement, learner engagement, this I have picked up from the growth engineering blog. Uh, Accidentally, we came to know that yes, we are also following this. but this is well articulated here. So what is meant by a engagement process? How do you engage your learners? So step one is ensuring that your candidates, all your learners or your audience is mentally present. Moving on to getting them emotionally connected to the content. Third would be inspiring them, making them curious, making them inquisitive. Then taking them on to getting socially engaged with other learners and continuing it with continuous learning. So just go to the next slide. Mentally present. Uh, so what we are discussing here is not only about CIE exam. Any trainer, even in a corporate training or any other training program, these are the 5 steps which have been proven to be very effective. So mentally present. The first challenge is getting people mentally inside the classroom with gadgets, current day and current era, a lot of distractions, basically due to gadgets. And younger the age, lesser the span of attention. Mature people have more span of attention, but in CIA class, what we have found is there is a variety, in the profile of the candidates. So you may have to deal with, freshers like just BCom, MCom candidates. Some are MBA candidates. Some have 3-4 years of industry experience, and there are a couple of them who are very seasoned, but somehow they have not taken the exam seriously. They want to get certified. That's why they are there. So mentally present, I'm sure everybody would appreciate. That is the first challenge. But the bigger and the most important part is getting the candidate emotionally connected. So what we mean by emotionally connected is not connected to the trainer or the institute, but to the content, whatever he's trying to learn, the subject matter of the
Exceptions
learning.
already reported is done, not reportable
Hello,
exceptions.
hello, hello. Yeah, any? Is it okay? Can I continue? There was somebody had a question in between. Hello.
Deepak sir, you may continue. I think somebody actually.
Okay. Thank you. Oh, sorry. So yes, emotionally connected is very important. If somebody is really connected as a feel good factor with whatever he's studying, whatever he's trying to learn, so there is really a positive motivation, and that much the job of the trainer becomes very easy. Uh, Next is proactive and curious. Once any learner, he gets emotionally connected and feels good about whatever he is trying to learn. Naturally, he'll become curious. He'll become more proactive. You don't need to push him. He will start. He'll take the initiative. So that is what we want. Okay. So and fourth step is being socially engaged. Most of the professional, the service providers, they do this. Uh, Socially engaged means all your candidates. Suppose you have a batch of 10 candidates, aspirants. They need to be connected to each other. So you need to encourage them to solve each other's doubts, or interact more on the relevant topics, share their knowledge, share their learning. So one simple way is having a WhatsApp group or any group in any social media. You can leverage the social media platforms and get your group connected to each other. That sort of reinforces things. See, the biggest challenge what I see is losing interest. CIA is not tough, but losing interest is very easy. There are nobody. It's not a college or some degree course where daily you come to a place and you are hammered every day that this is your basic. It is something that one does as a side activity. It's not the primary thing that somebody is doing. So losing interest is very easy, and we need to be guarded against that. So one way to ensure that people, are in the game, and still in the game, is by being socially engaged with other learners. Continuous learning may not be relevant at this point of time, but yes, once people are qualified, they can continue their learning and enlarge their horizon. But that is not our concern at the moment. So first four parts: mentally present, emotionally connected, proactive, and socially engaged. So these are the soft part of the training, the engagement part. Okay. Okay. Any questions so far? Can I continue? Hello. Can I continue?
You can continue. This is Vaidyanathan here.
Yes, please. Please carry on.
Okay. Okay. So once having understood, the mentoring approach, whereby we have to focus not only on the transfer of knowledge that is there, but also on getting the candidates connected in a more deeper fashion. Now, from our last 10 or 12 years of whatever we have been doing, we try to, try to skim out some key points. What are the key points? So what we found, the key points are setting right expectations with the candidates, giving them knowledge support, test support, and building their morale and keeping the motivation high. Part A and D is the engagement part. B and C is the transfer of knowledge. So these are the key points, and let's dive a little deep. Setting right expectations. The first thing, your first interaction with a candidate would be when he or she comes to you to enroll for the course or for the program that you are offering. If you are a organized service provider, you may have a counselor to do this. If you are a freelancer or a single person who is trying to give this course, then you will have to do it yourself. But nevertheless, this is the greatest opportunity, the first point of engagement. When somebody comes and he is inquiring, you need to counsel him. So why they want to do a CAIA exam? Do they know what it is and all that? The CIA proposition. So we need to tell them what CIA is all about. That is the point. We need to guard against overkill or overselling. Certain candidates may not be aligned or may not be very suited for this exam. So we need to caution them. So that is what setting right expectations is about. It's a two-way thing. What a candidate should expect from a CIA, if he becomes a CIA, what's going to change? They should know that. So what is that CIA designation offers him? Okay, that is one part. And to earn that designation, there are certain inputs that the person or the aspirant would have to, give, would have to commit. So two-way, one should be very clear and what commitments are required from him or her, and what the CIA is all about, how it is going to help him out. So that is the first part. May not be directly related to your training thing, but this sets the tone. Setting the tone is very important. About CIA proposition, basic simple things. We all know this. Nothing is new, but we need to make it a protocol. Like tell it to the candidates what career prospects, how it can improve, enhance the career prospects in terms of promotions or increments and stuff like that. Okay. For that, anybody and everybody cannot directly benefit. Somebody who is well positioned, suppose somebody is working in a uh, uh, big four environment or a large internal audit professional firm, or is working in a company which has a separate internal audit department, this will, definitely immediate results will come. So what we should be very candid about, whether you'll get immediate results or this is just a stepping stone and you will have to wait for some time. Many times I have found candidates fresh coming out, they feel doing CIA, some magic will happen. You have to be very clear on that. CIA is a force multiplier. CIA if force multiplier means if you have something, whatever is your background, it will multiply. But if your background is not so strong, it won't multiply to that extent. So just by passing an exam, things won't change. Things will just multiply to wherever you are. If your base is not very strong, it's difficult. It will take time. So we need to be very candid about this, that CIA is a force multiplier. It will definitely help you, but if you are at the very optimal position. Contribution to the organization, definitely every organization, every employer organization likes to have qualified, certified candidates, particularly professional organizations who are providing internal audit service. They want to convey this to their clients that they are very competent. And one way to communicate that is by having certified professionals. Okay. So everybody wants to be a differentiator, right? Everybody will have chartered accountants and such profession. But if you are in internal audit, a specific uh, certification of internal audit will help the organization to impress their clients. So this is a CIA proposition. Another thing is internal audit advocacy and networking. Uh, Someone becomes a CIA, it helps them in networking. They can join advocacy groups. If you are not a CIA, but other institutes also will provide you that platform. IIA is one additional platform which is focused and specializes in internal audit. And if somebody has chosen that as a career, CIA is the right thing to do. So this is a way of telling the candidate what he or she will gain from being a CIA. All this comes when you do the counseling. So before the training starts, definitely there will be some counseling to be done. Then only somebody will enroll to your program. Second thing is about the exam overview. We all know this. Part 1, Part 2, Part 3. So just need to tell the candidates this is it. They may know it, they may not know it. As a protocol, it is better to tell them in the counseling sessions what the exams are, what is going to be tested there. And there's a 3-part exam. 2 part is about standards, a hardcore internal audit. Third part is more about general knowledge. This one more thing about the new thing everybody knows, CIA challenge exam. 150 questions, crack it in 3 hours. That's all. But it's available only to chartered accountants. And that's a very, what should I say, promising opportunity. Many chartered accountants just have to give one paper and they can earn this certification. So I'm sure in your training programs you can have this the separate offering, CIA challenge exam. And many course and content providers have. Climb has started giving a separate content and question bank for CIA challenge exam. Next thing, when you set the expectation, is try to know the work experience of the candidate. See, the way this exam is, we all know, it assumes or presumes certain level of exposure to audit. If not internal audit, at least some type of audit. So, person, if he comes from an audit background, his work experience is aligned to the program, it's that much easier for that person to understand and apply. But somebody is coming from a little distant background, like say, we have seen engineers, somebody doing ISO audit, somebody who are HR professionals, but okay, that's also okay, but there is a gap to be filled, and we need to be very frank with them that since they may not have a direct audit exposure, they may have to build it up. Build it up by way of studying more, going deeper into basic concepts. Educational background, yes, chartered accountants, cost accountants, most suited for this course, but others can also do good, no problem. Most important part, self-study. Uh, what is the effort? What is the level, I mean, number of hours that a person has to put in? What we feel is 2 hours per day is a good time. Everybody is occupied, they are working. So 2 hours a day is good. Even 5 days, 10 hours a week, let us say, for an extended period of, let's say, three to 4 months for one paper. That is what is minimally required. And that has to be customized to the background of the candidate. But we need to tell them that this is, you have to be ready for this. And just by enrolling in a program, it doesn't help. You have to not only attend the classes, but go back and study. And very important part is study leave. It may sound very simplistic, but you've seen candidates who become overconfident or they can't negotiate for leave or something from their employer. Previous day they are working, next day they want to go and write the exam. Uh, Not a desired situation. Uh, I mean, it's always better for the candidates to apply for leave, get a leave sanction, 3 days at least, how much ever one has prepared, just before the exam, one has to really sink in into the exam mode. The mode has to change from office mode, one has to come into the exam mode, and at least 3 days, 5 days, whatever. I mean, not 7 days is upper limit, but 3 to 5 days, if somebody can get for one paper, that is optimal. Effective steady approach. Uh, I'm sure if anybody has conducted sessions and if their candidates have written the exam, half the candidates come back and say the questions were different. When I studied from the Gleim or Wiley or IIA question bank, I could crack. But when I went to the exam, everything was new. So that is a very common issue with all the candidates. One has to, I mean, repetitively, we have to tell our students that you have to focus on concepts. No questions are going to get repeated, but the syllabus is same IBPF framework, same mandatory guidance, same implementation guide. You have to study that. Not a very vast thing, but conceptually understand every word of it and apply. So application is important. Conceptual learning is important. Questions may not be same, but it will be similar. Prepare their own notes. We need to encourage candidates to prepare some notes, underline or prepare. Uh, Solve MCQs in study mode. This is what we need to tell them. You have to prepare notes. If someone does that, the chances of cracking the exam increases. The effectiveness of the preparation is much higher. Solving just by studying it will not help. We all know, but we need to tell the candidates that you have to solve MCQs, thousands of MCQs in study mode, and do this 2 or 3 times. Maintain a masala book. What we mean by masala book is, maintain a long book, a 100-page, 200-page long book, and capture micro learnings. This is a very effective technique. Candidates, when they solve their in their homework or in their study mode, MCQs or whatever they do, see, learning is never one shot. It doesn't happen just by delivering a lecture or just by reading something once. It's over and over a continuous process, a incremental process. So once you read, They'll understand something. Second time, there will be some micro learnings. Somebody makes a mistake. The best point when somebody learns is when he makes a mistake in the MCQ. That is the point, to capture those micro learnings, whatever is important. And this is different for different students. There cannot be a standard masala book or micro learning, because people learn in a differently. So something may be missed out by someone and it gets clicked to him or her at a later point. So the sequence on in which these learnings come and sink in into the mind is different. So backgrounds are different. So some people have a very strong background. They need just little bit incremental learning. Some have a not so strong background, so they need to travel that learning curve much more. So idea is we to make our candidates maintain a masala book, capture micro learnings, and this book is any person who is committed and who prepares this masala book. It is very easy at the time of just a day before the exam. One cannot go through the whole syllabus, but one can go through one's own notes and one of these micro learnings or whatever one found difficult or tricky, all that can be maintained in a small log. So you can encourage your students to do this. You can even check. I mean, that becomes too schoolish, but yes, once or twice in a very tactful way, you can ask somebody to share that book, how it looks, and all that, just to ensure that somebody is not just mechanically trying to study. It's not a mechanical approach. So every time somebody studies, there has to be some increment in the learning, and there should be some value add. Every session should add value. Right? So all these things definitely help the candidates. People have everybody does not have great time. In a short time, you have to prepare this, and study has to be very effective. Uh, any questions that I can take at this point of time? Hello. Can I continue?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Uh, Let us suppose we have a batch, we have been successful in enrolling candidates, we've set the right expectations, and we want to, engage them deeper. So the next thing is the heart, I mean the core part of it, knowledge support. If you look at the syllabus, uh, one thing we found, it is focused on two things. One is the IPPF and another is the accounting cycles. These accounting cycles are not there in the IPPF, but it is sort of assumed. It is sort of assumed that people know about this. I would like to share one experience. It's a regular experience. These accounting cycles which we have in GLIME or which is tested in the IIA exam is fixed. It's sort of a given thing. It may not be the best thing, best business process or a practice. World has moved, the world has evolved.
हाँ
Hello.
ऐसी बारिश में कौन चले दिमाग खराब है अपने आप वीडियो कॉल कर लेंगे वीडियो
There is
कॉल कर लेंगे
noise. Hello. Okay. So these accounting cycles, what happens with the experienced candidates, people who are smart in the profession, they have moved beyond all these things. So they try to impress or they try to argue, that all this is not relevant or there are better ways. So many times they will find the answers as wrong. So that is a challenging moment. We need to tell them, sir, keep your professional insights separate, and we need to focus on academics. End of the day, this is an exam. Our goal is to crack the exam. So there may be some dichotomy, some disconnect in the practical insights or the whatever is very much what does you say
Is that Rishi?
successful or effective in the
Rishi
practical.
and Rita from Risk Pro.
Hello, Sanaji, any disturbance? Can I continue? Hello.
Okay.
Oh. So the
Or to move forward with this. Okay, that's why the NDA has not been.
hello.
Sorry?
Yes. Anybody was trying to ask anything? And constantly getting this back.
I muted everyone, so requesting everyone to go on mute. If you need to say something, then kindly unmute. You can continue, sir.
Okay, thank you.
So can you mute those who are not required to speak?
It's okay, sir. It's okay. See, if there are any questions, please you can ask me in between also, or at the end of the session. It's okay. No problem. Accounting cycles and embedded controls. There's a challenge when we deal with experienced, seasoned professionals. And, we need to address that this is an exam, and we need to study from an exam perspective. Regarding the Gleim offers this, I mean, you can go to the Gleim website and download these cycles. I think it is available free. Okay. So this is it. That's the first thing everybody should know, and just stick to the exam mode. Then the main part, IPPF mandatory guidance and IPPF guide. I think the challenge exam is completely on this mandatory guidance and implementation guide. I can show you something. Where is this implementation?
That is September, that is October.
I had this here. Okay, I think. Okay.
Oh, tax split.
Let's check it out.
Tax split.
Sorry. Okay. For some reason, this is not available now, but you can find it on the website, IIA website. Go to the website.
இல்லை ஆரம்பிக்கல நீ வரலாம் 6 மணிக்கு தான் மீட்டிங் 5:45 வரேன் நான் AGM board meeting followed by AGM.
These are the standards. Then you can go to the.
He's in the executive council. நான் இந்த டேர்ம்லாம் முடிவெடுத்து நான் வந்து போர்டில் மட்டும்
guidance.
He joined just about 1 or 2 years back.
Whatsoever.
Here it is, implementation guide. I think this is the Bible, the implementation guide. For some reason, I cannot show you because I think it got removed from here. But no problem. If you are a member, you can just download it from here. If you are not a member, ask somebody who is a member to give it to you. Share it with the candidates. So it's really worth it. So they have those standards, and then they have those implementation guide. So that can really help. And then there are some supplemental guides which I'll come to the slide and tell you which ones are important. Then which study material is important for the candidate, and some tips for the live classroom session. Accounting cycles we just discussed: purchase to pay, order to cash, payroll, capex. All this you can just download from the client website, share it with the candidates, and ensure that they know it like a back of their hand. This is very, very important. For paper one, I think, and paper two, at least 10 to 15% of the questions are based on this. Then this is the mandatory guidance, the standards. What we do is, we have this table. It's a simple just compilation of the standards. This is what we do. You can prepare this. I can share this with you. So a very simple thing. This is page one. Just listing of the standards. Just listing, simple listing. These are the performance standards. But it gives a high-level view, a bird's eye view of what are the codes. Code 1000. What is it about? Empowerment. IIA 1000 is about this. This is the standard. Are there any assurance standards? Yes. 1000A1. Consulting. Yes. Not exactly by heart, but if somebody can, master this chart, half the job is done. They know the length and breadth of the syllabus. This is the syllabus. Okay, so we need to know this. What standards are there which are going to be tested? So, code of the standard, the name of the standard, and how many assurance and consulting implementation standards are there. So, this is a very helpful thing to begin with. Okay. So you can prepare it on your own. It's a simple Excel sheet, or if you want, I can share this with you. So candidates need to be told that this is what is all the standards all about. So core principles of IA, definition of IA, all this definition of IA is tested. Core principles also get tested. Code of ethics, standards, a summary. This is accounting cycles and this mandatory guidance. It's very, very foundational, fundamental. So you can devote time on that, focus your attention on that. And then there is an implementation guide. We just discussed this. So this is nothing, mandatory guidance plus a commentary. Every standard, it follows up with a narrative, a commentary on each standard. What happens during exam is standards are very abstract, the mandatory standards, but how they get implemented, and there are certain practical application of the standards which are elaborated here in the implementation guide. So that elaboration is very helpful to crack the MCQs. Sometimes the MCQs are directly related to the commentary that is there in the implementation. And I'll tell you one thing: you may rely on some standard contents provided by Gleim, Wiley, or something, or you may want to prepare your own notes or own content. So the base, the source of developing a content is this implementation guide. It is some 200 pages. You can make a gist of it, and you can circulate to your students, or you can encourage the students to read that, underline important things, and try and master this implementation guide. Once this is done, then the next step is very easy. There are supplemental guidance. What I mean by supplemental guidance is IIA provides, these are not for the students, these are for the practitioners. Okay, and they deal with complex issues which professionals face in their practical professional life. So this is about IA and risk management. All of it is not important. Page number 11 to 20, if you can.
कार्तिक की वापसी की टिकट कब की है?
And then there is IA and Gover. See, these are very abstract things, and for certain candidates who are fresh, who don't have exposure to how an evolved internal audit function or activity is actually carried out, So there's all this governance, risk management, all this is very, very abstract for them. It's all the more important to go through this supplemental guidance. But not everything. Everything will be an overkill. It will be overwhelming. Just, I mean, the important part. IA and governance assessment, if you go through this guidance, only the executive summary is important. Rest is a little, not required. But there is one guidance on IA and fraud. This is a very interesting thing. And if I have, I can show it to you. I have an older version. This is the 2009 version. Okay. Uh, but all of this, how many pages? 42 pages. Nothing great. It's even good to just read it for fun. Fraud is something that people always find it interesting to read about fraud awareness, prevention, and all that. So there is an executive summary, fraud awareness, all this, every page of this is important. One is it gives you the right perspective, and even from the exam perspective, this is important. And this is easy, not difficult. So there is a recent version of this. You can download and share this, IA and fraud. So this one is important. Then I was talking about governance, assessing organizational governance. Just go through the executive summary. This one page is good enough. Okay. Not try to read too much. Then we have this risk management, how to assess a risk management process. Page number 11 to 20 is relevant. What is here? Role of internal audit in risk management. So from 11, if you go right up to page number 20, this reading is good. One reading, underline important things, it's done. This is over. Not to go to any other. Right. So these are the supplemental guides. So again, I would like to refresh accounting cycles and mandatory standards, foundational knowledge. Then implementation standards, build upon that. And 3 or 4 supplemental guides wherever you find difficult. This 3 is important. You can include other supplemental guides also, but not everything about it. Only the executive summary or certain pages. You can use this to build your own content, your own study material, or you can use this in conjunction with whatever standard material you are using. The next part is the knowledge support is about the study material. So candidate will have to prepare from a pool of material. It will be one CIA test prep, whether it is GLIME, Wiley, IIA. See, test preps are required just by downloading from IIA website, mastering it. That is very essential, but not sufficient. You have to beef it up with the MCQs, practice. Need question banks. Without solving questions, just knowing is not important. But foundation is this, all this, whatever is available in the IIA website, the IIA resources, and then you need to beef it up, consolidate all that conceptual learning with the exam test banks, the question banks that we have. You can also provide some notes as trainer, and they will have their own masala book on it. So there are three sources on which they have to build their study material. Not just having one source is not good. So you have to have all these things. So that gives them insight into the thing. One more thing. See, recently with all this technology coming, people always feel just watching an audio video is also studying. That is just a warm up. You need to tell your candidates just by seeing a video, watching some recorded class, all that is warm up. It's not actual study. You have to take pen and paper, prepare notes, go through the questions, solve the questions, understand it. It's like a spiral. You understand a concept, you solve a question, you get stuck, you increase your understanding, then you go back to questions. So back and forth, questions, concepts. So one has to do that and make some notes, something, and capture those micro learnings and all those pitfalls and tricky things and all that. So caution them against it is like fooling yourself that just by videos everything will happen. So let them not get into that mode. 2 hours of study, they'll watch 2 hours of video. That is a warm up. Should not be relied too much upon. Live class, definitely when you conduct a live class. So what we do, I can share it with you. We always ensure that we have a PPT, PowerPoint presentation for whatever topic is being discussed. And in the PowerPoint, we just give the basic pointers, discuss it, and then there are MCQs which we solve live in the exam. Like for example, I can show you one of the flash notes. This is Code of Ethics. Okay. So here it is, Code of Ethics. So this is just the content part. Then we have these MCQs. There is a question. Next slide has the answer. Okay. The answer will have what is correct, what is incorrect, why correct is correct, why wrong is wrong, and all that. So when you discuss this MCQ, how do you? There are thousands of MCQs. So each class, practically, you cannot go beyond 10 MCQs discussing in a class. So choice, which one to select, is very important. Choose couple of easy ones. If people want to get that, think that they've been successful. If everything is tough, it will be demotivating. So just to boost the morale, keep one or two simple conceptual things, and after that, you definitely one or two very difficult ones have to be there in the 10 things, 10 questions, whatever you discuss. So that keeps the balance. Keep the session very interactive. What we do is whenever an MCQ comes up in whether it is nowadays it is all online class. Previously we had in-person class. So that was very enjoyable, but no more nowadays. So, but anyways, we can keep the session interactive, not disclose the answer at once. Nudge them to commit, and then just find out how many people have answered, let's say option A, option B, option C. So various, and we use this platform called BizIQ, by which if we broadcast a question in the live session, live webinar, we get to know what were the responses, how many percentage have answered A, B, C, and D. So we come to know whether everybody has, it's, is there any, difference of opinion in the class. If there is any difference of opinion, it becomes very interesting. Right or wrong is secondary. If there are different views, we have to encourage them to defend their views. It's not about just getting the thing right. It is by this interaction, when people defend their view, they, a lot of learning comes out of it. A lot of conceptual clarity comes out of it. Why somebody is saying, this is the right option. Why other person is saying, no, that is the right option. And they have to defend themselves. So when doing that for 3 or 4 minutes, it's really fun, and it's a good valuable thing. So we that is our trademark. We always do that. We do. Our idea is not to tell them what the right answer is. Our idea is to make them commit to an option, defend that option, and even if a person who is committed to a wrong option, when he defends, he brings a lot of learning to the table. So that is important. So that is about live classes and doubt solving. See, what has happened is uh, many people will keep asking you about doubts every now and then. Okay? Our recommendation, our advice is not to encourage uh, arbitrary doubt solving anytime and every time, 24/7. We are not 24/7 service providers. Nobody is. So solving doubts, you can collect all the doubts by way of email or on some group, some WhatsApp group or wherever you want to collect those doubts. Or then you can reserve a part of the week, 2 hours in a week sometime, and resolve. Don't ignore the doubts, but at the same time, don't try to be too online about it. So then people will disturb you any time of the day. So you don't have that. Don't make them have that expectation. And another very important thing that can happen is every candidates who is aspiring, they want to interact with somebody who has cleared the exam recently. If you know from your past students, or if you don't have such, from anywhere, if you can invite any successful candidates, that interaction is really, really helpful. Uh, I have cleared this exam in 2006. So how many years have passed? We don't write exam every year, right? So we have cleared it once, but we don't know. We don't have any live experience of the recent experience of clearing. So that recent experience, they are the batsmen in form. They are very useful. So you should invite them, and you'll see the magic. People, give a lot of attention to, more than the faculty. They are interested in, discussing. What were the type of questions? What did you study? Is this enough? And all that. And that will sort of validate what you are doing. Okay? If the successful candidate says this is important, this is not important, this is how I cracked it, and this was enough for me, so that sort of validates what you have been telling in the class. So do that. And thing is, people become, charged up. They feel, yeah, this is doable. If somebody, I see a live case, a successful case, who says this is enough, it's enough for me. Everybody is racing against time, so it really boosts their confidence that it can be done in so much time. That is what is everybody is looking for. Okay. Any questions so far? Hello? Can I continue? Okay. So, after the knowledge support, very important thing is test support. So, knowledge is shared, it's imparted. Learners have got a hang of all the concepts, but very important to test it. This is one area where the faculty adds maximum value. One can study on their own, but nobody can test himself or herself. Effectively, nobody can test. It is always better that somebody else, some independent person, comes and tests. So, this test support is very, very important. What it means is all your in-house intermediate test and the main CIE exam. So, how we can support them there. One is MCQ answering techniques. Anybody who has given MCQ type exam, they know this, but everybody may not. So just give them tips on how to deal with MCQs. Get a good question bank for yourself and for your candidates. This one thing helps categorizing the question bank and then conducting multiple tests. So MCQ answering techniques, time budgeting, all this, even at the cost of repetition, people may feel ki it's a common sense thing, but keep repeating that budgeting the time is very important. You have, let's say, 100 questions, you have 120 minutes, 20 minutes for revision, so 1 minute per question. So one should not get too much involved in one particular question and spend or uh, overspend time there. So one has to balance. So time budgeting is very important. So you have 1 minute to crack a question. So you have to read the question, 20-30 seconds for that, read the options, and then you commit to an answer. So all that are simple things, but and one thing, some people who have cleared their chartered accountancy in their 90s, in between they have not given any exam, and suddenly they want to write this exam. Good thing to do, but their perspective about an exam is about the old era. Okay, they have never given MCQ, so there they face a lot of risk of trying to get emotionally involved in a question and trying to figure it out and answer it over by the. So all that needs to be cautioned against. Time budgeting, reading the question carefully, again a very common sense thing, but keep repeating it, because if a candidate who loses marks in an easy question, in a question that he could have easily answered, but he lost marks. That is, really, really tragic. It should not happen. If it is a difficult question, something that you have not studied, it's difficult and you lose, it's understandable. But because somebody did not read the question carefully, and which otherwise was a very easy thing to get, and if you miss on that, so that should be, that is better avoided. So keep telling your students. Sometimes, even a couple of questions will make a difference between the pass and fail. So that is important. Intelligent guesswork, yes. All the MCQ seasoned people know that. So you need to tell to your candidates that intelligent guesswork is required. There is no option of not answering a question. One has to answer. If you don't know the answer, do some intelligent guesswork, eliminate certain options, and go by your gut feel. So this is one thing, though a very common sense thing, but you need to tell. Then getting catch hold of a good question bank, GLIME, Wiley, IIA, or there may be more. So GLIME we prefer because we are partners with GLIME, and GLIME has very vast question bank. Most important, once you have the question bank, this part is very, very important for the trainer. I would tell you, you'll have to solve all the questions again on your own. See, passing the exam is one thing, but when you study to pass the exam, the effort was not so much. But now you have to study to train. The effort is multiple times. I myself have I have to spend more time after my exam. After I cleared my exam, I have to go through the same book again from a different perspective. Earlier, it was from the perspective of cracking the exam. Now you will have to read the whole thing from the perspective of developing a content, or structuring or building your program, or delivering whatever you want to deliver. So most important is go through the question, solve it yourself, and categorize it. Make a spreadsheet, list down the question number, reference, chapter 1, question 1, or whatever 1 to 100 in a spreadsheet. Categorize. See, I would use this one: easy, tricky, conceptual. This is my category. You can develop your categories, but categorize each and every MCQ from whatever base reference that you are using. It can be Wiley, IIA, GLIME, whatever question bank you are using. Solve the question bank thoroughly, categorize it. It is a one-time exercise. One time you have to categorize it. Easy, repetition, same thing was asked previously. So just categorize this, and this will help you in building your tests and all those things. Okay. So this is important. Categorizing the question bank. This will require effort. This will require time. So we need to do that on your own. Then it becomes easy. Once you have a good question bank, you have categorized each and every question, and now you have to conduct multiple tests. By multiple tests, what we mean is DPT, daily practice test. It can include simple questions. So one technique is, on the WhatsApp group or on any other platform, you can send teasers, 2 questions, 5 questions. Okay, so whatever topic is currently you are conducting, send some. It can be a true or false question, it can be MCQ, it can be anything, but just to keep it engaged. Students love this. When they get a WhatsApp message about something, they want to answer it. They are in the games. Their focus is kept constant. So all this we have to make it interesting, and we need to ensure that the interest is not lost. So this daily practice tests definitely helps a lot. So you can keep doing that. Then you can have topic-wise test. You can have combine some topics and make a test. So all your categorization you have already done. So you know if you want to have an easy test or a difficult test, or all you can, it's easy for you. And then you can have this mock test. So mock test is if you have blind, then you can just students can also generate on their own. And it's good to have some platform like BizIQ is what we use, but there are many learning platforms, many brands available. Choose one which you find okay, and you can use all this. You can conduct all these tests through those platforms. So this was about conducting multiple tests. Uh, then motivation and morale building. So first was setting right expectation, then was knowledge support, test support, and now another soft part is motivation and morale building. So this was what Sanaji referred in the earlier session, that many people enroll for the exam. Like, many people enroll for the gym, but they don't go to the gym. After 3 days, all the enthusiasm is lost. Similar thing happens in many of these exams. People enroll, they want to give the exam, but then that initial enthusiasm fades away. So you have to keep them motivated. And one is, easiest thing when you are charged up is to spend some money, okay, enroll for the exam. That's it. But you never plan the date and all. So as trainers, you have to take that extra step. Tell them that you have to have a time-bound plan. You need to commit to a date, okay? And then you have to continuously monitor their progress, understand the challenges that your candidates are facing, and give them honest feedback. So one is time-bound plan, realistic. Someone says I'll crack it in next month, and I don't know anything about it. I'm opening the book for the first time. It's unrealistic. Or somebody has a very uh, distant background, is not aligned to the CIA course. Somebody is an engineer or an MBA, so they need to devote more time. They need to commit more effort. So all that is very important. There has to be a commitment on the time when person will take an exam. It has to be realistic. It will be aligned with other time commitments. People have marriages and all that things in their family. The childrens will have a SSC exam or some 12th standard exam or engineering entrance exam. I'll tell you one thing, for senior candidates, when their children are giving the exam, nobody would like to give the exam that. You don't want to fail when your child is also appearing for a very important exam. You also appear, and you have that fear of failure, right? So it's always better to give it afterwards. Exam strategy, which paper one, paper two, and all that. So if you are giving a challenge exam, there is only one paper. Okay, so time bound plan has to be there. Then how much time you will study and all. Most important is when you will appear for the exam and work backwards. Continuous monitoring. If somebody wants to give an exam at a particular date, so you can monitor their performance by the test results that you are conducting, by way of interaction with the class. And candidates will themselves share their problems, doubts, and all. So you need to monitor whether, if somebody has to appear after 3 months or 6 months, is the progress in line with whatever goal that person has set. So continuously monitor the progress. Understand challenges, conceptual grasping. If somebody is not able to understand, is not able to crack the questions and all, whether there is a conceptual problem, go back to the standards, go back to the theory, make notes and all that. Time commitment, very common thing. Sir, I don't have time. So that is something no faculty can help. They have to carve out time for themselves. Okay? Not using the right material or not using the right approach. So all these challenges you need to understand, be patient about it. And after you understand the challenges, give them a very honest feedback. Okay, need to be sensitive about what don't need to demotivate or give them any false notion about everything. And if there is a repeat candidate, somebody who has failed, there should be special consideration. In the sense, if somebody fails, okay, is not successful, so he or she needs to be told that if you keep repeating your whatever you have done earlier, you can't expect different result. Right? If you keep doing the same thing, you will keep getting the same result. So if you are unfortunate in your earlier attempt, you couldn't crack it, so just diagnose what you had done last time and do 2x, 3x now. And then your preparation should now be at least 3 times that. Whether it is required or not required, you have to really multiply your effort. So repeat candidates have to be dealt with differently. Uh, Same old thing, conceptual understanding. Questions will not be repeated, concepts will remain the same. Fear of failure, biggest mental block. Fear of failure, particularly for senior candidates, experienced professional. We keep telling them again and again, and that is my very standard thing to say, ki this exam doesn't speak, doesn't judge you as a person, doesn't speak about you as a professional. It doesn't speak about you as your talents, your competencies. This is not going to tell anything. This is not an indication of your talent, of your intelligence, of your competencies, anything. This is a simple mundane exam. You need to appear for the exam. Take it. This is just a test of how you are prepared. I mean, how you have prepared those implementation and standards and guides and all that. Just a small syllabus. How well you are prepared. This is an indication of that. The exam is just an indication of how well you are prepared for this small syllabus. So don't give it over importance. To stop giving over importance, your fear will go away. Otherwise, if you get too much, if you try to be too judgmental, if you think that this is the fear here, I have never failed, and this fear will reflect badly on me, my family, my daughter, my son, and I'll fall, I'll cut a sorry face or something. All this is nonsense. So one needs to be, what should I say, counseled about it. One needs to be, at times you will have to play a friend, philosopher, guide. So if there is fear of failure, nobody is going to write the exam. And very soon they will start not attending your classes also. So ensure that fear of failure is not there. Rest is all the same thing, confidence building. So bulk of the preparation the candidate has to do. You have, as trainers, will help them in guiding what the right material is, not to do over study, at the same time not to do under preparation, and be motivated and confident enough. So that was it. I'll be happy to take questions.